I'm saying something very controversial and brave, and that is that the Cullens aren't really true vampires, and I'm going to explain to you why. This mainly comes from the idea of vampire reproduction and vampire family units, and it is really based in a essay that I wrote in undergrad talking about how monsters, more importantly vampires, are queer figures because of the way that they can emulate gender roles and gender expectations, but they do not conform to them. It's not just not conforming, they transgress directly against these norms, and that is especially seen through their reproduction. Vampires are very different because they can reproduce by themselves, like, you bite a person, they're a vampire. There is no need for that secondary person, and that is most importantly, like, what sets it up to be a transgression against the norm. We think of the male vampire siring another male vampire without the need of a female person there to, carry and birth. They can do that just themselves. In a similar way, the female vampire, I'm thinking about Carmilla here, can create dozens of other vampires without the need of a male counterpart because the venom acts as a kind of sperm, and both male and female presenting vampires have access to that. So because of this, they create a new dynamic outside of our typical heterosexual and hegemonic family unit that has been pushed onto us by society. However, the Cullens don't do that at all. Carlisle and Meyer herself, I assume, are pushing so hard for these vampires to fit in to our typical family unit, even though they are created to directly oppose that. So, because of all this, I have crafted a term called campires, where it's because, vampires, they transgress against the norm. They are monstrous. Edward tries so hard in his POV in Midnight Sun to separate himself from the monstrous. The monstrous part of him is another being instead of like him as a whole. So because these monsters, vampires, only exist for aesthetic, they're campires because they aren't really engaging in the type of subversion and transgression that their monstrous counterparts are.